Well, it's February, whatever. It's cold. Alright, so doing a power tilt and trim job. It's a 93 Evinrude 40 horsepower. Hey, also, here's a tip for you. Filling up your power tilt and trim. Like on Brandon's garage, he had made his little funnel and I don't know, that's crazy. But get you some of these, a little oil pump. Little oil can. They're cheap. I think this was less than $5. I get a few of them. I got another one up here. And then, like, this is my bar oil for my chain. But you can get 2 or 3 of these. Put ATF in one, or put just trim fluid in another one. You don't want to ever mix them, because like when you're putting your power steering fluid in one, you don't want to mix it with like another one. You just put it in the hole, in your fill hole, and then you just squeeze the trigger, and then you fill it up as you need it. I didn't film the whole thing. Brandon's garage has got a great video on that, so you go check out his video. YouTube needs to get their act together. They should make it where you could say at certain person in the comments or whatever, where you can click and just go to them, so I could comment on saying, hey, go to Brandon's garage and check out this video, and he gets a notification that I said, hey, I commented on him. So anyway, but that's my 2 cents. I don't know, this guy is fun. Let me tell you what, it is fun. The big problem, I don't even know how to say it. You have a top pin that goes through the top here. That pin gets stuck. If you have a stuck pin, what you can do is the pin itself goes all the way through from the outside. And there is a where you could put a 5/16 bolt in it. And I guess that would help spin it. The problem is, the tolerance on it is so crazy that you'll never get it to spin. And you can put vice grips on that end and you can try to spin it, and all you're going to do is mess up the end of it. That's all you're going to do. To get the pin out, one idea I had after doing one was you could take a real small drill bit and really just make kind of just a small little point or a cup, where you can get the right, you're gonna have to have the right punch. What I did is the bottom pin you can get out pretty easy. That's not too bad. You can usually hammer it through. Make sure your threads, you're not messing up your threads. I ended up, I didn't have one, but I wanted one for a while, and I said, screw it, I'm gonna go get one. And I'm in there cheap. Anyway, it's just a air hammer. That one's only like 4 CFM and 90 PSI, but it's fine because I got a 30 gallon. When I was using this, I realized that it would have been nicer to have had the little, cup from taking a drill bit and making a little cup there. So imagine, on the pin, you just making a little mark, so when you put the chisel on it, the air hammer chisel, I just got these at Harbor Freight. It ended up being really cheap, like $20. But for $5.99, they sell you these for your air hammer, and you got different ones. So it had that one, and it had that one, and I cut this end off to just have it as a flat punch. But this one is the one I used, and it has like the little thing, and this one already got, I had to hammer it. What happens if you didn't have that indentation, you kind of can drift. You mushroom out the head of that. That's really the big problem, is that when you mushroom out, say this is the pin, and you mushroom this end out when you're trying to get it to go through, because it's only one way, right? So if you mushroom out this head and then you try to go through the tolerance is so tight, even with the plastic bushings. So it's got plastic bushings. On the lower pin, you got these. And on the top pin, you got these. Those bushings are tight too. What I'm saying is like you can get the bottom pin out. Okay, so you can get the bottom pin out. You could leave the top pin in. Like on Brandon's garage, it's a great video. It really is a good video. Now some of the tools I wouldn't use that he used. But if you get the bottom pin out, first you want to crack, you know, your top end cap. You get the end cap, you loosen it first. You're gonna, like Brandon was saying, that you had to have this tool. You do have to have this tool. This is the tool, but it's not 200 bucks. This one, they're measured from here to here. So this one happens to be 35 millimeter. And then the pins, you can measure your pins, but this is 6 millimeter. They make them 32 millimeter by 4 millimeter, and they make them 32 by 4.5 millimeter. So anyway, you just put this dude up on top of your thing. It's right into the grooves, and then you use a breaker bar, or I had a 1/2 inch wrench. That's a 1/2 inch on those guys. So if you try to use a regular spanner, all you're going to do is damage your end cap. That's all you'll do. So you get that off. I've got it in this vise. These here, you know, you do have to have a special tool for that. So I adapted to get that out of there. What I did was I just took one of those punches that I got from my air hammer, and you get a vice grip. And so here's this punch. And if you look at this, I just took my grinder and I made it flat. So if I take this off, this fits in here really nice now, and it's just as wide. So there's another tip where you can make a tool. You don't have to go buy that. Now I'm saying that I'll probably get it just because for an impact, you know, you could put it on an impact and it would come out a lot easier. Yeah, so I did that where I had that thing I made, you know, it's just from there. And then I put the vice grip right here, so whenever I put this in, and you got to push down. The key is kind of pushing down. And then take your vice grip and use it as leverage to turn it, and that'll get that deal. And then on the bottom, you know, you got to have a hex wrench. So, you know, it's pretty simple, man. I mean, take this. You don't have to take out that one, and you don't have to take out the other one on top. I suppose if you were to completely break it down inside there to clean it, that's what you would do. But you got a filter, and the filter on this one was really clean. On the end here, this thing is cold. You know, to get your manual valve release, you will need a pair of these. And this has got some attachments. I couldn't find my attachments, so I had to like squeeze out to release the pin there. Doing the seal replacement, Brandon's garage is really good. It's really in depth. Sometimes you don't really need to go that crazy. I mean, like the valves could be just fine. All you got to really do is this one's leaking. Rarely do these go. Gosh, I don't know. You know, like I say, you could completely take it out. Like, you know, take your motor off, and there is a couple of gaskets underneath here. But so the big problem with this is that you got to get that top pin out. Well, you don't really have to, because you can loosen this, and then you could pull it out from the bottom, and you could just leave the pin in. You don't have to do that madness. This one's ready to go. You got a lot of O-rings take one of these apart at a time. That way you replace everything the way it came off. Just check your kit and make sure that you have the right gasket. You'll figure it out. You know, on this arm, a couple of these seals too, and you just gotta make sure they're pointing the right way. It's not that hard. It's pretty easy, really. You know, just remember where your spring and, you know, like where your ball bearings go. That's why you take it apart one at a time. This one's ready to go back on, so I'm going to try to let it warm up today, and then I'm going to go do this again. So I see this lens is probably dirty as can be. I probably shot the whole thing with the lens just, you know, looks like you're looking through somebody's fingerprint. And you know, if I got a clean towel. Can you see me better now? Can you see me better now?